Welcome to Ultrapilot Technologies, Agitated Nudge Filter Dryer, Anfd. The Agitated Nudge Filter Dryer system is used for solid-liquid separation, washing solids for purity, drying solids by imparting indirect heat, and then discharging the dry solids by means of the specially designed agitator. The components of the system are: first, the main vessel. Second, condenser. Third, condensate receiver. Fourth, dust collector. Fifth, discharge valve. Sixth, hydraulic power pack. And seventh, vacuum system. The motor drives are to be controlled by the operating system. The system operation is: to commence operation of the system, the discharge valve of the system operated by hydraulic cylinder CY3 must be in closed condition indicated by proximity switch PS5. The bottom section operated by hydraulic cylinder CY2 must be in closed condition indicated by proximity switch PS3. All control valves must be in closed condition. The cleaning in place cycle is to be commenced by opening the CIP inlet control valve CV1, which will flush cleaning fluid into the system through CIP nozzle CIP 1 to 5. The time cycle can be set manually for this operation. The outlet valve CV2 has to be kept open, and the vacuum pump is started to flush the liquid out of the system. The whole cycle 1 to 5 will be repeated by keeping the discharge valve and the bottom section partially opened. After the cleaning cycle is completed, the system is sealed again. The O2 or N2 inlet valve CV3 is opened. After the pressure indicated by the pressure transmitter PT1 shows the working pressure, indication is given to the O2 or N2 inlet valve CV3 to shut. The pressure drop is noted through PT1 for a set time limit. In case of no pressure drop, the vent valve CV4 is open to flush out O2 or N2 from the system. The equipment is now ready for the process cycle. The agitator of the Anfd is lowered by starting the power pack motor M3 and operating the hydraulic cylinders CYL1 for lifting and lowering the agitator. The lifting and lowering is done by operating the solenoid valves for lifting or lowering oil flows from the power pack to the cylinders. The slurry inlet valve CV5 is now opened. A predetermined amount of slurry is transferred to the system. The quantity is measured through the flow meter FM1. After the required quantity is transferred into the system, the slurry inlet valve is shut on indication through FM1. And control valve to Anfd bottom section is opened CV2. The vacuum pump motor M2 is started. This evacuates the line containing the receiver connected to the bottom section of the Anfd. The vacuum readings are measured through signals received from pressure transmitter PT2. The control valve for N2 or air pressure CV3 is open to apply pressure on the top of the slurry to give higher delta P for the filtration. The pressure transmitter PT1 will measure the pressure and will close the control valve CV3, if the pressure exceeds a certain set pressure. The agitator is rotated in the slurring direction by starting the agitator motor M1. The rotation is continued for a preset time. The agitator is then gradually raised, stepwise, by operating the lift solenoid valve for the hydraulic cylinder. The quantity of wash is controlled by a flow meter FM2, which, after a preset limit, closes the wash liquid control valve CV8. The agitator motor M1 is started, and the agitator is lowered in the slurrying direction, mixing the wash with the cake and reslurring the whole mass. The time from start to finish is controlled by preset time limit for the operation. The agitator is lowered till it activates the proximity switch PS2. The lowering action is stopped. The agitator is rotated in forward and reverse directions at preset intervals for a prescribed time for thorough wash of the cake with the wash liquid. The steam is introduced into the system by opening the steam control valve CV9. This introduces steam into the limpet coils on shell and on the bottom plate and into the agitator. In case of hot water heating, this valve has to be installed on the hot water inlet line. The agitator is rotated in the slurring direction and gradually lowered to dig the wet cake. Heating vaporizes the solvent in the cake, and this is sucked out by the vacuum applied below and above the bed. On drying, the dry powder may entrain with the vacuum and go into the dust collector. The dust bags are pulsed with N2 or dry air by opening solenoid valve SV1. This can be done by way of a timer provided. The steam flow may be steplessly varied through the steam control valve CV9 for temperature control of the product by measuring the product temperature through the temperature transmitter RTD1 placed on the vessel. The completeness of the drying cycle will be measured by the vapor temperature measured through RTD2. At a preset temperature, indicating that the drying is complete, the discharge valve is opened by operating the DV cylinder CY3. The open indication is given as soon as the proximity switch PS5 is disengaged. The agitator is now rotated in the discharge direction. The agitator is gradually lowered and pushes the dry powder through the open discharge valve as it is lowering. On complete discharge of the powder, the discharge valve is closed by activating the solenoid valve on the power pack to close cylinder CY3. The drain valve CV11 can be opened to drain the receiver. The cycle can be re-established when receiver is drained. This will be determined when the lower level switch LS2 is activated. For operating the bottom detachable arrangement for the Anfd, the bottom is lowered by operating the bottom detachment cycle, which opens the clamping cylinders CY4 to A or B and then lowering the bottom by cylinder CY2. The proxy switch PS3 indicates the open position and activation of proximity switch PS4 indicates fully opened condition. On bottom open position, motor M1 has to be disabled as a safety measure. After completing the cycle, the cylinders are again raised by activating the solenoid valve on the power pack. The proximity switch PS3 will indicate bottom closure. In optional cases, speeds control of drive motor M1 is required through VFD. The speed needs to be controlled from near the equipment through HMI and potentiometer.